Yo, welcome into the BeBall Jones podcast. The goal of this podcast in my business is to bridge the gap, to fuel hoop dreams into impactful realities on the court and beyond. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode. Nelson, I got a question for you, man. Okay, so right now, we're in the middle of the season, so we don't have an MVP, okay? But last year, who was last year's MVP? Okay, Joel Embiid, and he's big, man. Who was the MVP before that?
Jokic.
Okay, big Joker. Who was the one before that?
Also Nikola Jokic.
Oh, word. He went back to back. Okay, so Embiid, Joker. Deuce, my bad. Oh, my bad. Wrong game. Who was the MVP before that?
That's a good one, boy.
Off the top, bro. Off the top.
Okay.
Who was the MVP before that?
My guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Greek Freak was the MVP. And then before that one.
Also Greek.
So Greek Freak went back. Okay. And let's so you would call Giannis a big, right? You kind of consider him more of a big. Okay.
Yeah,
So
they play him at the 4. They consider him power forward.
okay, so yeah, Joel Embiid, he's a 5, like bona fide 5, like 7'2", 7'1", 7'2", bona fide 5. He ain't like PJ Tucker being 6'6", playing 4'5". He's like solidified 7'1", 7'2", 260. Okay, and then you got Joker back to back, same thing, 7 foot, 260. I don't know what it is, but something like that. And then Greek Freak, same thing, 7'1". He probably about 260, 250-ish in that range. So the last 5 MVPs were all strictly big men. So Giannis, 7'1", big man. Joker, back to back, 7 foot big. Joel Embiid, 7 foot big. Is it safe to say that the big man has made his return to the NBA? It was scary for a moment for y'all because it was like, oh man, the big man's gonna be extinct. There's no more big men in the league. It's getting soft because the big men are no more, no more real bigs in the game. But the last 5 MVPs were all big. So is it safe to say that the big man is back in the NBA?
Yeah, I would say it is. It is pretty fair to say that because you're kind of right, man. For a while, it was like bigs are going extinct. Everybody, they say everybody want to shoot threes and whatnot. Everybody want to be on the perimeter. So they were saying bigs were extinct, or big like sooner or later we're gonna be having positionless basketball, no bigs, just guys out there playing. But in reality, we got bigs that can shoot, and that's just what it is now. Bigs that can shoot. So the big man has made a return, I guess you could say, because I would say in the mid 2000s, like the 2010s, it was looking iffy. Whenever Shaq retired, it was looking like bigs was drifting off.
Yeah.
But no, man. It's kind of been a lot more prominent now, to say the least, just because Nikola Jokic, obviously the Denver Nuggets won the championship this past season. Nikola Jokic is the first center to win the Finals MVP since Shaq, and I think he might be the first center to win MVP since a regular season MVP since Shaq too. I want to say I might be tripping because Dwight Howard never won one.
He's the
I'm
last
trying to think.
center for sure. I
Yeah,
know Tim Duncan won one.
yeah,
Dirk
bona
won one.
fide center.
Yeah, but center Shaq's
Yeah, I
probably the
know
last one.
Tim kind of went between.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Tim Duncan kind of played center towards the end, but we consider him the best power forward ever. So, and him and Dirk, so we gonna throw them in the power forward category because I feel like that's their main position when it came to their career. But Jokic, like the Joker, is the first center to win both of those awards since Shaq. So if that don't say the big man is making a return, then I don't know what does.
Yeah, it's getting to that point, man, because you had talks for so long that it's a point guard driven league, and it still is. Don't get me wrong, because Steph Curry still doing his thing. Still got respect and love what Luka's doing, what Shea Gilgeous is doing. You know, Kyrie. Like, there's still bona fide top tier. I can't forget my guy Dame. You know, it's the real still top tier guards doing the thing. You gotta have them. And you know, I think we had this conversation. I don't know if it's on air or off air, but low key, the Wings were like the for real running, like they dominated what happened in the game. Because let's go back the past 10 years. The top When you list the top 10 guys in the league, for a minute, the first three were gonna be Wings. It's gonna be LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Kawhi Leonard. There was a stretch where it was like you were juggling between them three, and you throwing Steph Curry to kind of mix that up, because Steph Curry got to get his respect too. But you mentioned the top five players in the game. Three were going to be Wings between those three I just mentioned. You have Steph Curry there as the fourth, and then his musical chairs for that fifth spot. You know, for a while it was James Harden. For a while it was Dame. When he had a minute, he was dominating. And then Giannis came in kind of later on that latter part. He picked up that spot where it kind of solidified as him. Joel Embiid, Joker, you know, so on and so forth. But when you talk about each of the three, the consistent one was the guards. Consistent one was the wings. But there was a minute where, like you said, after Shaq retired, it went downhill. You know, you had a handful of bigs at that point who were cool. You know, they weren't great. They were cool. Besides the powerful, like the centers, the true centers. You still had Timmy, you still had KG, you still had Dirk. Cool. You know, but they were stretch fours and, you know, pushing more to be outside. Then Dwight came in. He had his run. Boogie came in. If he would have stayed healthy and had a better team, it would have been his team. But outside of those two, you can't really name like a bona fide center that was just, you had to respect them night in, night out. You had the game plan for them night in, night out. So now we're at this point where, hey, you know you playing the Nuggets, you already know. So respect to Jamal Murray, but that boy Joker, he back-to-back MVP. He got a 2-time with it. We playing the 76ers. Shout out to when James Harden was there. Shout out to Tyrese Maxey. But we know Joel Embiid, trust the process, is the focal point. Playing the Bucks. My boy Dame is there. Don't get me wrong. Dame is my guy. But it's still a Greek freak down there too. You gotta game plan for him. He been holding down for a long time up there in Milwaukee. So we're in a position right now where the big man is still just as prominent, probably as it was back then with Shaq. So let me make sure I clarify that. I'm not saying these guys are Shaq on that level. I'm not saying that, but the level of attention you had to give Shaq back in the day, when you playing the Lakers or when you playing the Heat early in that time, you had the game plan for Shaq. You had to put that respect on his name. That's the same thing you have to do right now for these three bigs. So I think it's safe to say, man, that the big man is making a return of being a dominant position in the NBA again, because it was scared for a minute. But I think it's safe to say that we're in a position right now where the big men are one of the more prominent. You can make a good argument of who to start your team around between the guards, the wings, and the bigs right now at this point in the NBA.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, most people consider Nikola Jokic the best player in the league.
Mhm.
And a center has not been considered the best player in the league since Shaq, easily. Even in Dwight Howard's prime,
Mm-hmm.
it was LeBron and Kobe. Like, that was already like solidified, and Dwight was in the mix. And after Dwight, there was like nobody even close. I'm like, Dwight probably wasn't even close at that time because it was like Shaq and Kobe, not Shaq, LeBron and Kobe. That was the main two. And Dwight threw that monkey wrench into us finally getting Bron and Kobe in the finals, and the Magic put a stop to it. So I still hate that happened. I mean, it was great for Dwight Howard, obviously, because, you know, I was a fan of Dwight back in them days, the Orlando Magic days. I was a big fan of that. But you know, he wasn't touching them when it came to those, like, who the best player in the league. Like, it was just LeBron and Kobe at the top, and we throwing Dwight in there probably top five. at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, before the Joker, never would a center have been considered the best player in the league since Shaq. Never. So, and then now you got Joel Embiid who's competing with him. And to be honest, to your point where you said it's been that long since we had the game plan for centers whenever we played them. I can't think of somebody like for Shaq. Who was the guy for Shaq in his time that was competing with him for best center in the league the way Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid are now? Because early in the 90s, when Shaq was still with the Magic, it was Hakeem. I think most people consider Hakeem the best center in the league. I don't think they was going back and forth between Hakeem and Shaq. But when Shaq got to that Lakers team and in his prime, they was winning MVPs and championships. I don't think nobody in the league was like, it's either him or Shaq to be the best center in the league. It was just Shaq. You know what I mean? And that's not to say there wasn't other great centers. That's just how dominant Shaq was.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like some people gonna say, it's no contest between Embiid and Joker. But you say what you want. Embiid just won MVP. Joker won two before him, but Embiid is the current MVP. So there's obviously some discrepancy of who the best center in the league is. So I can't think of nobody in that time that was competing with Shaq like that. So like, it's like, dang, are big men really that prominent now again?
I think the only person you could say back then was Yao Ming. But he only really had like a handful of years we could even think
Yeah,
about him
like
just because he
3-4
was injured
years.
so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
so his first couple years, and he getting the feel for the league. But once he kind of found his footing, and like, dang, that's a bad choice of words, but he found his self, and he kind of found his game. Um, he started to show what the hype was about. For people who don't understand why I said a bad choice of words, he had foot injuries his whole career. That's what held him down. So, pun not intended, but it was there. So I think Yao Ming was the only person that was his quote unquote rival because he was 7'6", bro. Like he was like, we never seen someone 7'6" be able to be that level of physical dominance because usually 7'6" and you real slim. Like you had Ralph Sampson. I think he was, how tall was Ralph? He was like 7'2", 7'3", maybe.
yeah,
He, he
so
was he was like a legit 7, but he wasn't 7'6". And then you had Bobo who was no bigger than his pen, bro. Like not Bobo, Manute Bo, my bad.
yeah,
Manute
the
Bo,
first
he
bowl.
the first Bobo's dad or uncle, one or two.
This is
Um,
that.
yeah. So Manute Bo, he was 7'5", 7'6". He might have been 7'7". He was up there. He was ridiculously tall, and his skill was ridiculous too. Then you had maybe one or two other guys that were up there, like over 7'2", but most of them, once again, were like super, super thin. Like they weren't having weight about them. Y'all was 7'6" and a nice little, like he could, handle Shaq. Like on offense, Shaq has to, all right, bro, y'all might get me. So he has to like muscle up, weight room. Like you gonna feel 7'6", 260. On the other end, all right, it's my turn now. You gonna feel this 7'2", 300. Like what's up? So Yaw's probably his only rival, but it was only 2 seconds when he had that opportunity, man, because injuries just really messed him up. But it's really like picking choose of like parts. You can say Ben Wallace most dominant defensively, but we all know offensively, man, ain't it? Yeah. So Shaq was really the most dominant man. Like not even like just the most like the conversation we have of like physical dominance, but it was just like Shaq and a huge drop off of his competition. But right now, even if you want to throw Giannis in there, as far as who's the best big out of those three, that's an hour long episode for somebody to argue about. Like, who would you rather pick as you starting a franchise? Who would you rather have, or you need to win the championship this year? Who you building around? That's a good conversation people can have. And 10 years ago, it was Boogie, if that. And now we're at a good point where we can have that debate, and that's a really good conversation to have. And that's where the big men have a good space in the league again because you're having that conversation versus back in the day it was like, nah, let me go get LeBron, let me go get KD. I ain't worried about no 5. We'll figure out something else. Like we'll just give me Chris Bosh, we'll throw him at the 5, or give me Kevin Love, we'll throw him at the 5. What I need the 5 for, like for real. Like the game's changed. I don't care about that. So we're in a good space right now for y'all, man. Hey, hold on. Time out real quick. We're going to get back to the episode. I know you're enjoying it. I know you're enjoying the show. But I need you to help me real quick and to make sure that this episode can grow, make sure this podcast, the show can grow overall, and you can keep getting great guests like this. Make sure that you subscribe and follow along. So if you watch right now on YouTube, help me out by hitting the subscribe button. Go ahead and do it real quick. If you're listening in your car, chill out for a second. If you're on Apple or on Spotify, just like when you get a moment, hit the follow button, but not right now while you're driving. If you're working out or something, or you're chilling in your room, then go ahead and subscribe with me. Like, help me help you, okay? But thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. I'm going to stop interrupting so you get back to the episode. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You know, obviously, I'm a guy who loves bigs, man. Just like I have a deep appreciation for good post moves and post defense, rim protection. You know, those are the things that I've been doing all my career. So I have a great appreciation for stuff like that. So, I watched those guys. I watched the Joel Embiids and the Jokers and stuff like that back in the days. I was watching the Dwight Howard. I was watching the Shaqs. I've watched plenty of Hakeem Olajuwon highlights, Tim Duncan's, guys like that coming up. And, obviously KG was my favorite player. But it's just that's the craziest thing about it. And I think you can tell how respected a position is, or how much talent is in a position by that distance between first and second in that position. You know what I mean? Like how we just thought about Shaq in the next, and I thought about it while you were talking. Like I think the next best big man probably at that time was David Robinson until he retired, because him and Shaq went back and forth. David Robinson won the scoring title during Shaq's dominance and stuff. So I probably say he was probably the second best at that point in time, while Shaq was in his prime. But the distance between first and second and third will let you know how deep a position really goes. Like 10 years ago, the best small forward was LeBron James, and that was clear as day. He was the best player in the world. That second best was obviously Kevin Durant. And KD, there was a good distance. There's a good gap between him and LeBron, but it was KD. KD was considered probably the second best player in the world at the time. And then right behind KD was either, depending on what year we're talking about, it was probably Paul George, or if this was in the Kawhi Leonard time, Kawhi Leonard after he came up in the 2010s. Mm-hmm. But probably Paul George, because they had them years in Indiana with him in Miami, when Brown was in Miami, they went back and forth. So that lets you know that small forward position, the wings, like you was talking about, the wings were deep at that point in time, because there was not much distance between the three of those guys. It's like LeBron, tick, Kevin Durant, tick, Paul George. That's how good they were. And then, but you go centers, at that point in time, like 10 years ago, best center was probably Dwight Howard. Was still decent. I don't know. He might be the best center. But 10 years ago, you had your Dwight Howards, you had your Joakim Noahs, you had your
Bynum.
Bynum wasn't even like that. 10 years ago, 10 years ago, he wasn't like that. But, when Kobe and them won their championships, Bynum was still good. So, like, late 2010s. Not 2010, but the late 2000s, Yeah. So, he was good there. But 10 years ago was 2013. And I don't think Bynum was like that in 2013. So, matter of fact, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. We got technology.
I think around that time he was probably that's when him and Kobe, I don't want to say got into it, but that's when he was like,
when the Lakers just went into their bad years.
Yeah, he trying to be the man of the team. And they're like, I go do your thing in Philly then. So he went and got a bag in Philly, and I don't think the man touched the court again since then. So yeah, I think that was the year that's when the whole process and stuff started kind of happening after that, because that's when Andrew Brown was going through that weird hair phase, and that was a whole thing. I think that was the year that happened, 13, 14 and stuff.
So got in front of me. Bleacher Report top 100 NBA players from 2013, the year 20 to the 2012-2013 season.
Mhm.
So, I'm gonna let you guess how many centers do you think is in the top 10?
Centers.
Let's not do power forwards just yet, but those centers.
Okay, centers. Uh, okay. Let me ask this question first.
Okay,
Is the Dwight Howard on the Rockets or the Magic still?
he's on the Rockets.
Okay, okay. Two centers.
Two. All right. And who do you think they are?
Dwight and Boogie.
Well, I hate to tell you this, B, but it's actually just one, and it is Dwight. Boogie
Man.
did not crack top 10, which I am kind of disappointed by that too. You know, we Bama boys wanted Boogie to be in there, but Dwight Howard is the only center in the top 10, and he's number 10, so he barely made it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, I said we're not gonna do power forwards just yet, but there's not a power forward in the top 10. Not even Tim Duncan. So I guess this was when Tim Duncan was on his decline. I guess they wasn't really respecting him like that. Cause yeah, the Spurs didn't win no championships in them years. So cause until they won 2014, yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess they kind of wasn't respecting them like that. But after Dwight was number 10, and then Tim Duncan was number 12. So considering him a power forward, the next big man was number 12. Then you got Mark Gasol, number 14. Kevin Love, number 15. And LaMarcus Aldridge, number 20. So you got one big in the top 10. You got five in the top 20.
Mm.
So bigs were not like that, dog. 10 years ago today, I'm just looking at the list, and it's a lot of guards. It's a lot of guards. So you want to try to guess the top 10? 2012, 2013. I believe you can do it. I already gave you Dwight at number 10, so guess the other 9.
2012, 2013. So that was around the time Miami years. Okay, okay.
Of course.
So of course you got to go Bron. That's obvious. Like, come on, man.
Bron, number 1.
KD got to be in there.
KD at the number 2.
Got to throw my boy Derrick Rose in there.
Derrick Rose is at the 4.
Okay, okay. I don't think Steph Curry was Steph Curry back then.
Was not.
Okay, so I'm good on that one. Chris Paul. That was Clippers.
Chris Paul at the 3. You got your top 4. You got Bron, KD, Chris Paul, Derrick Rose.
Okay, top 4. Top 4. Let's go Melo.
So you can 5 guys. Melo at the 8.
Okay, let's go. Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade, first guy off the list at 11.
Man, it's trash list, man. Get this out of here. What?
He first guy off, man. He first guy off. He number 11.
Man. All right, bro. I'm just on Bleacher Report. This is blasphemous. Get my boy D-Wade on the list, man. Anyway. So you already said Dwight. Zebo, definitely not on there. Marcus Gasol, you already said he was later on. Paul George on that list?
Paul George is not in the top 10.
Okay, okay. How many more I got left? 3?
You got 4 guys left. You're missing number 9, number 7, 6, and 5. No, okay. 9, 7, 6, 5. You got 4 left. 4 left.
Who would be top 5? Not Darren Williams. Shoot, I'm tripping. Okay.
You got to think about them teams that was making the playoff, making the finals during them years, man.
Kawhi on the list?
Kawhi had not came up yet because they had not won their championship yet. Their first championship went to the 2014.
Yeah, he was definitely not on that list then. I already said Melo. I already said D Rose. Dang, bro, I'm tripping. I know, forgetting somebody. Tony Parker. Tony Parker got to be on the list.
Tony Parker, number 5.
Yeah, because that was
Ain't it
his time he
crazy
won
that
MVP.
Tony Parker was number 5 and Tim Duncan was number 12? Is that not crazy to think about?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I understand Tim was kind of declining, but it's not like Tony Parker was carrying the team. You know what I mean? So how are you gonna put Tony Parker at 5 and Tim Duncan at 12? Like, I ain't saying Tony don't deserve to be top 10. I'm just saying that's a big gap between Tony and Tim. Like, he just way better than Tim Duncan. But that's his lazy here nor there. So you got your top 5. You missing your 6, 7, and 9.
All right, 6, 7, and 9. Let me get. I do better with like teams. I'm gonna pull this teams up.
I'm incredibly shocked you haven't said number 6 yet.
My brain ain't working right now, man. Okay, let me see list of teams. Celtics, Nets, Knicks, Bucks, Pacers, Nuggets. Kobe Bean Bryant. What am I doing? What am I smoking this morning? Kobe.
What are you doing? Kobe is at the 6th.
I am wilding. Dirk got to be on that list.
Dirk is not on the list.
I don't know what they're smoking.
I think that year after they won championship, he kind of started getting injured and whatnot a lot. So I think that's probably why not. But yeah, he's not in the team. You're only missing 2 guys.
Nah, they missing Dwayne Wade. That's the issue here.
Yeah, I can go for that.
Clippers, Blake Griffin. He might be on that list.
He's not in the list.
Okay. Hawks, no. 76ers. Who else 76ers?
Number 7 is another one of your guys and a teammate of another guy in the top 10.
One of my guys and a teammate. Oh, Westbrook. I forget. Mr. Mid-range bucket. They got to be Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook is number 7. And now number 9 is a former teammate of Russell Westbrook.
Harden.
And actually now current teammate. Now that I think about it.
Oh, current? Yeah, Harden.
James Harden. But James is already in Houston in this list. So that's your top 10, man. You got Bron at the 1, KD at the 2. Now I got to scroll back down. Bron at the 1, KD at the 2.
Mm-hmm.
You had, damn, my bad. I scrolled all the way up. Bron at the 1, KD at the 2, Chris Paul at the 3. Big respect to Chris Paul, the highest rated point guard. Derrick Rose at the 4. Glad that he was getting respect after he got hurt in 2012. Mm-hmm. Tony Parker at the 5. Think that might be a little high. Kobe at the 6. Russell Westbrook at the 7. Melo at the 8. James Harden at the 9. Dwight Howard, only big man, sitting at 10. And your boy Dwayne Wade, number 11. First off,
switch him and Tony out, man. That's blasphemous, bro. Switch him and Tony out.
I could go for that. At that year. But we looking at it in hindsight. But I don't like Tony Parker was that guy. But like, dang, Tony Parker top 5 in the league over Tim Duncan. I know this ain't Tim Prime, but like he top 5 in the league. I don't know about that one, dog. You put Kobe at 6 and Tony Parker at 5.
I think that was more the narrative push of them trying to transition to like being Tony's team. And so that's when it became a little bit more focused on Tony, a little bit more Manu in the picture. I think he won the MVP around that time, Finals MVP around that time too. So I understand it, but no, man, like let's not do that again because that was a big mistake. So yeah, that was really interesting, man, because like even though it's in the big man's bat, you still had power forwards during like the late 2000s to mid 2000s. Like even after Shaq stopped his, he retired. Even when he stopped being like Shaq, you still had Pau Gasol, you still had KG, Dirk, Tim Duncan. You later on you had Bosh and Kevin Love doing their thing at the 4. Then later on you had Blake Griffin trying to be the next, great big, but he couldn't stay healthy and he wasn't dominant enough. He was just doing his thing and what he was, man. So you still had power forwards, but when you think of those guys, Most of them aren't just the physical dominance, like back to the basket fives. Like AG said, I'm not playing the five. I got to deal with Shaq, so I'm not playing the five. Timmy, he'll switch between 4 or 5. I don't think anybody thinks of Dirk as a 5. He's solidified as a 4. So Bosh, he was probably primarily 4. She 4. Like all these guys that we think about are certified 4s. But we're now getting back to the point where that 5 man is what matters. And so you still had bigs, still had Pau Gasol, who was floating between 4 or 5. You had Bynum do his thing for a couple years with the Lakers, and that was cool to see. You had the Twin Tower effect with Powell, and then you had Bynum. And then Marc Gasol came in later on, probably being the best 5, but ain't nobody picking him to run that team like that for real, man. It's like once we get through like the realist, then we'll look at Marc Gasol. Like that's kind of what it was. Once you got through with the wings and you got your guards, the first big man off the list, well, the first man off the list got to be Marc Gasol. That's when he was like maybe 2013 when he started, because that was the grind for all the year, the grit and grind Grizzlies, and him and Zebo doing the thing at the big. So that's when he kind of had his run for a good 4 years. Maybe the Grizzlies were like solidified team. That's when they were smacking around the Warriors and the Clippers, and it was like that era was when Marc Gasol was doing his thing. But we didn't consider him to be like the guy of the league. He was just a really good center. That's it. And so we still had power forwards. We didn't have the center presence like we have now. So that's why we're saying like the true big man is back. Because power forwards were cool, but now you have 4s and 5s right now. So that 5 man is what really counts as a true big man. But the 4s still matter a lot too. But the 5, we didn't have that center.
We see a difference, man. Just there was a time like 10 years ago. There was a time where the center was on his way out, like not being the guys on any team. Like even then, even with that list, there was no center on the list who was the best player on that team because you got Dwight Howard at 10 and James Harden at 8. So James Harden was clearly the best player on the team. And then right after Dwight Howard, I think the next big on the list was like Tim Duncan at 12. Tony Parker was 5. And then you had Marc Gasol was like 14. I could go back, but I'm not gonna do that right now. Marc Gasol was like 14. And I mean, so technically he was the best player on this team. And then after Marc Gasol, you had Caleb and you had it wasn't Bosh. There was somebody else I'm missing, but it's okay. You had Caleb, who was the best player on the Timberwolves team. So you had like some other bigs, but like nothing like what it was, you know what I mean? To where the big man was the best guy, the best player.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like that back then. So I mean, people thought that we was going to lose the big man to stuff like that, to the guards. So it was going to be a wing and guards driven game, you know. So since we did that, we might as well jump to now and bring back the Bleacher Report top 10. So I got it in front of me now. Can you name me? It's fairly easy, but can you name me the 3 big men in the top 10 today? And we count power forwards and centers. So there's 3 in the top 10.
All right. Okay. Another timeout. Okay. Look, if you got to this point, you have to be enjoying the episode. Like you have to. At this point in the episode, you're enjoying it. So help me help you. Just if you're on Apple right now and you're on your phone, okay, just take your phone, press the subscribe button. It's right there. Just do that with me. Even if on your laptop, take your mouse, boom, click over, boom, do your thing. Now you subscribe. Now you linked in because you don't want to miss the next great episode that I have. But doing stuff like this helps the episode grow, makes the show grow, and the podcast grow so I can keep getting great guests and keep doing great interviews. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, take a second, look at your phone, press the follow button, okay? And share with a friend or two because you'll find the value in this. You want to have this conversation with your friends so they can have the same value. Now the whole basketball community can grow. All right? Thanks for listening so far. I'm going to get out your way. Let's get back to the episode. Appreciate you. All right, that's easy, man. Joker and Embiid, Giannis. If you want to throw a little razzle dazzle in there, I think you have to mention. I'm finna be tripping right now. It's a big man. Steven Adams. He's definitely on that list, man. No, I'm just playing. I'm a big Steven Adams fan. I'm a big Steven. I wish he wasn't hurt, man. But um, for the bigs, is Draymond considered
No,
a
no.
big?
I mean, I don't consider him a power forward, but we talking right now, today, this year. This is the list Bleacher Report came out right before this season. So think about,
Oh,
like, put your mind in the frame of, like, right before the season started, who were the best bigs in the league? You got the top three, well, the three in the top 10. Let me say that. You got the three bigs that's in the top 10. Who can you name a guy? Like, I go ahead and tell you, there's one. Yeah, there's only one other big in the top 20, and he's fairly easy to guess if you ask me.
either Triple J or Bam.
Come on, man, you know the answer to this.
Ain't no way to put
How?
Wimby up there.
No. They ain't that disrespectful. Come on, man. We
Power
just
forward.
seen him go off for 40 the other night.
I am tripping now. Well, my brain is not thinking of this person. Who is this? Bro, I am tripping. Who?
I'm not gonna tell you, bro, because you should.
Oh,
We consider
man. I
him
got a
what?
whole thing about him, bro. Anthony Davis. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. AD was number 15, so he not top 10, but he number 15. So he the only other big man in the top 20 after the three main guys. So, but think about that though. You got three power forwards slash centers in the top 10 right now. And 10 years ago, in the same list, Bleacher Report had one center and he was number 10. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he barely slid in there. Could really have been swapped out for Dwayne Wade, according to my boy. So it's just crazy to think about. Like, man, 10 years ago, we had one center in the top 10 and he was 10. And then now we got three of the best players in the league, bigs. So
Mm-hmm.
just crazy to think about, man, how the game has changed. We thought they was on their way out, but they made their way back. So I'm glad to see it. So bonus points if you can name the other 10 or the rest of the top 10, since we got three of them. So you only missing 7.
All right, Bron.
Ron is
Luka's
at
on that
number
list.
9.
The disrespect. Okay. Um,
What, 38, man?
Luka. Hey,
Luca is number
hey,
2. Yeah,
he just won in season tournament MVP.
that's very true. Did he man, went crazy. I love to see it, but yeah, number 9 preseason. So now people talking about,
Yeah.
is Bron still top 5? I'm like, y'all was not acting like this before the season.
No, don't do it now. Bron. Okay, I'm gonna say this. Throw this in there. Bron is the person who he has the respect that I give Pop, like Pop in his first teams. I'm not counting him out until he's out. If LeBron if he still has an opportunity, I'm not counting him out yet. That's the level of respect I have for LeBron. So for my list, I'm not removing him from number 1 just because you don't know what that man can do yet. I understand his age, I understand his injuries, but when that man is kicking and doing his thing, he will figure out some type of way to be victorious or at least be in close position to be able to do his thing. So that's the way I feel about LeBron, man. Like I just can't count him out until he's actually out. So if he got eliminated from contention, then it's like, all right, LeBron not winning. But if he has an opportunity, I'm not counting out the Lakers or whatever team he's on. So that's just how I feel about LeBron. And I understand the age. I understand he's getting more beat up and everything now. But LeBron is still Bron for me until he said, all right, I ain't hooping no more. So until he just shows me like he ain't got it no more. But he still got it. So number 9 is crazy. Still got to be top 5 for me.
You got Bron number 9. You said Luca. Luca's number 2. Giannis is number 1. My guy was
All
number
right, so Giannis 1, Luka 2. Where's Embiid and Joker at?
1. Joker number 4. Which is kind of crazy now that I think about it, because I definitely thought he was going to be 2, but they give a lot of respect to Luka Doncic, and I understand, but he just came off a 2-time MVP. No, I'm sorry, Embiid won the MVP before, so, but still.
Still,
But Joker is number 4, Embiid number 6.
a little disrespectful, but okay. No, man,
They,
that's very disrespectful. Luka's not number 2. Like, come on, man. I love
they
Luka.
should have.
No shade to Luka. Come on, come
I
on.
feel like them 3 probably should have been top 3 out of respect. The last 3 MVPs. and they all still doing their thing. None of them been like seriously injured, nothing like that. Embiid being the last MVP should be top 3. For
Mm-hmm.
him to not even be in the top 5 is crazy. I don't know how often that's happened. Obviously, I ain't got the Sports Center research team behind me to figure that out. But for an MVP to be not ranked top 5 in the next year's rankings, like the top 100, that might be like unheard of. I don't know. Unless, no, I can't even say that because I was going to say, like, unless they got hurt or something. But if you won the MVP, you had to have been healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. That's crazy to me. But yeah. So just to lay it out again, you got Giannis 1, Luka 2, Joker 4, Embiid 6, and you got LeBron at 9.
So
So
where's
you
Steph Curry
need
on this list?
Steph Curry is number 3.
Okay, that sounds about right. All right. This season, top 10. Said Steph. Kyrie's not gonna be in this list. Is Dame on the list? I'd be surprised.
Dame is not top 10.
Okay, that sounds about right.
He's number
Top
12, just off the list.
10. Is Kawhi on this list?
Kawhi is not number 19.
It's a little surprising. Okay, this season, Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler is not on the list. Number 13. So you beating around the top 10, but you can't get in.
Is Anthony Davis on this list?
He is not. I told you earlier, AD was number 15. He in the top 20.
Okay. All right. I'm tripping right now.
You got over half.
Kevin
So
Durant.
there you go. KD, number 7.
Okay, KD, number 7. Does he have a teammate on this list? I'll be surprised if he had a teammate.
No, he does not.
Okay, I was going to say. No,
So
say the book of Bill.
Book is actually number 11. So first man off. So the only people you missing are 5, 8, and 10. And they're all, think about new superstars. Like they're the future of the league. Put it like that. They're the newest superstars.
Jason Tatum, my boy.
JT, number 5.
Okay, let's get my boy JT on this thing. Ant-Man? Will he be on this list?
Ant-Man, number 10. Last man in.
Interesting. Okay.
You're missing number 8, also a young superstar.
Is it Ja?
It's not. Ja done got in some trouble. They snowed him on this one, so they ain't. I don't know Ja would have been top 10 anyway, but they put him a lot lower than top 10 after his situation, so not Ja.
Yes. All right, you said young guy in the league. I know it ain't Shea.
It absolutely is Shea Gill, number 8, SG8.
Wow. That's kind of
Very
surprising.
happy to see Shea get his respect though. I love Shea game. I think it's the coldest, like smoothest guard play you're gonna see nowadays. So I love that he got in there. He getting some respect. So yeah, Shea number 8.
That's kind of surprising.
But he was going crazy though. He was first team All NBA too last season, so they had to respect him. Like if you first team All NBA, that means you was the best guard in your position. So clearly they got to put you top 10 at least. Because the only people, I don't know if they consider a Shea a 1 or a 2. So for right now, I think I consider him a 2. If they consider him a shooting guard, he's the highest rated shooting guard. Because Luka's the highest rated point guard, Steph right behind him. And then you got Shea number 8, the highest rated shooting guard, and Anthony Edwards number 10, the next highest rated shooting guard. So I think that's the fair place to put him. He's the highest rated shooting guard. He's first team All NBA.
But you know how that stuff goes sometimes, man. Once again, no shade to Luka, but Luka being number 2, it's a surprising jump. You feel me? And so I feel like Shea would have been underrated and been slept on. So it's like it's not like Shea shouldn't be top 10. I'm surprised that they respected him enough to put him top 10. That's what I'm saying the surprise is.
I can go for that too, yeah. It is a little surprising because he has been slept on these past. All his time at OKC, I would say he's been slept on because since he got to OKC, he's been a young star. they've been trying to cultivate him into a star at OKC since he got there. And he's like, last season I feel like he arrived. And he was first team all NBA. So if that ain't enough to gain respect, at least for the rankings, preseason rankings for the next season, just like I said about the MVP for Embiid, so I guess it makes sense because they that's what they did to Embiid. But for Embiid to be the MVP of the season before and not be top 5, that's crazy. So, but in the same right, Shea, first team All NBA, he should be one of the highest rated guards. And by this list, he's the highest rated shooting guard. So they gave him that respect, but they ain't do the same thing for Embiid, which is crazy. So how does the MVP not even get top 5? I mean, I know he was 6, but how does he not even get top 5? You're the MVP. You should at least be top 3, in my opinion, because they gave Embiid the MVP, but still put Joker ahead of him, which I ain't too mad about. But at the same time, it's like, why not put him right behind Joker if that's the case?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get how, like, sometimes you can't use the previous season to move forward to the next season because it depends on the time frame. James Harden had the whole deal. Like, that was a whole thing. So they kind of wanted to throw team success in there probably. And I can kind of get that, but he's fresh off MVP. Like, I respect the James Harden, but you ain't finna see his. It wasn't like Blake Griffin or DeAndre Jordan playing with Chris Paul. Like, once you lost Chris Paul, Blake and DeAndre weren't gonna be the same thing again. Like, Blake had a good 2 years where he was like doing his thing for real, but it wasn't the same thing when you had Chris Paul setting you up for an easy half your points, bro. Like, pick and roll, lob threat, pick and roll, pocket pass, pick and roll, swing, drop it down to you, and you do your thing. Like, half your points came off of Chris Paul every single game. But it ain't like Joel Embiid needed Harden to do his thing. Like, I'm cooking with it without you, bro. Like, you make my job a little bit easier, make my job a little bit different, but I'm still Joel Embiid with it without you. So I think they played a role into it, but I just think that they have to do a better job. I know they got to do, clickbait stuff and throw people certain places and leave people out. ESPN do that every year, and boy, fall for it, eat it up every time. But I get it, man. Whatever.
Well, what I will say, I think about it now. Last year in the playoffs, Embiid didn't do good. So I will say that. And I think he lost to the Celtics. The Celtics put the Sixers out in the playoffs, right? Last season. Yeah, and Embiid didn't show up for real down the stretch. And because they went to 7 games and they lost the last 2. They was up 3-2 and lost the last 2. Embiid didn't do much. He didn't show up. So I guess that probably played a big role in it because they put Jason Tatum 5. And, they good about little petty stuff like that. They're like, well, Jason Tatum put him out the playoffs as if Jason Tatum was playing Embiid one-on-one. So, they big on that. Like, well, they put him out the playoffs, so let's put Jason Tatum, one spot above him. So I guess I kind of understand that part of it, too, now that I think about it. But still, man, a guy wins MVP, man. Let's put him top 5, Bleacher Report, from now on. Unless something happened in the offseason, like if Ja Morant won MVP, and then whatever happened with him happened in the offseason, then okay. Okay, we could probably slide Ja back a couple spots. We're going to probably still be upset, but, I understand. But let's not do that to Embiid. He ain't hurt. He didn't show up in the playoffs, I get it, but he's still the MVP. He had the most valuable player season, and we put him 6. It's just not adding up. So let's fix that from now on, please.
Yeah, man. But kind of switching back to kind of doing our own listed ranking right here, man. I want to get your thoughts around, like, we kind of in this current generation of the bigs. We mentioned the top 3, Joker, Embiid, and Giannis. And I feel like the true reason I can say the big man is back is because we had like a next wave coming in. Like the next guys coming up into the game, like the future stars, the future superstars, they're also power forwards and centers. So of course, Victor, like you just can't mention the future of big men and not mention him. Even if he ends up being, I think he's a hybrid of KD and AD. And I think worst case scenario, he ends up being like a just ridiculously dominant defensive force. Like, That's how good he is right now in defense. But you got to mention Vic. You got to mention Pablo. That man is he's ruthless. I'll say that. That boy does not care who you are, what your name is. He would try to embarrass you as best as he can. Like, he's trying to dominate however he can. So I think Pablo's up there. Triple J, he's still young. He's not as young as them, but he's still young. He has a chance to take a couple more steps in his career, man. But I think the big man is back, not just based off of now, but as these guys are in their prime and start aging out, these young guys start coming up. Like, these guys are right now early 20s. So let's say 5 more years. That's when Greek will be early 30s, starting to touch mid 30s. You start to have Joker. Like, all these guys are like early 30s. I think Embiid might be the oldest at like 28, maybe. I think Joker is 28, 29. Giannis is like 27, 28. So all these guys are around the same age, and Embiid might be the oldest one. So in 5 years, they'll be mid 30s, kind of slowly starting to get out their prime. At the exact same time, Victor is 19. In 5 years, he'll be 24. Pablo is like 20, 21. He'll be about 25, 26. So you start to see the guys now start to get into their prime, start to really get a feel for who they are. So in 5 years, we're going to have to say the big man is still in this league. According to what we're looking at right now, I'll say that at least. So I think we're going to be in a good space to say the big man has been back and will still be back with this next wave coming in.
Yeah, definitely. I think the league is in good hands. You know, despite what people might say about the game and how much it's changed, the league is in good hands. Like, there's so many young superstars, so much young talent coming up. But speaking specifically about the big man, you know, the position is just getting more and more skilled and more like dominant in a new way. Let's say that. Because, you know, we talk about Shaq's dominance, but his dominance was all the way, like, completely within the paint. There was nothing you could do to stop it, obviously. But there's a new wave of dominance, and it's called I don't see your hand. Kevin Durant started it. And these big shooting over the top of guys, and they going into the paint, and they jump hooking guys. We don't see the hand, man. It's going in. So guys like that, man, your Wembenyama's and your Chet Holmgrens, they not gonna see that hand. You got your Triple J's, you got your Walker Kesslers, the guys that can shoot, the guys that can, you know, drive, play D, put the ball on the floor, all that good stuff. You know, that those guys, man, there's a new wave of dominance that's coming with them. You know what I mean? And you know, Embiid and Joker obviously are who they are. Like, they can do everything. They can go inside, they can go outside, they can dribble, they can pass. They got great footwork. So it's a new level of dominance. It's a new wave. Like, it's not the same as what we once knew in the past, where all bigs had their back to the basket and they were bumping and playing physical all the time. The game is still somewhat physical, but like, now guys can do more than just that. And you got to respect it. That's really what it comes down to. You got to respect it. There's no if, ands, or but about it. Because, like, as much as we say Shaq would dominate today, these guys taking Shaq out their paint. Oh, when he come down on the other end to play defense, I'm not saying nobody in the league today is better than Shaq, because I know how y'all get. But I do believe Shaq would dominate. But on the other end, he gonna have to guard, and we got bigs that's gonna pull him out that paint and create spacing. He's not gonna have the same level of impact on defense as he once had. So there's a different wave now. And you can't just say, oh, man, big men back in the day could do this, they could do that. Big men back in the day can't do what these guys doing. So you got to get with the times, man. And I'm glad to I'm glad to see that the big man is truly back. I think they're going to be here for a long time. There's not much they can do to stop it. And I'm here for it, honestly. So we'll see what happens.
I didn't think about it till you just said that. I still think Shaq will be just as dominant because
oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think he would. Okay, when we vision Shaq, we think of 300-pound, like 280 Shaq, Lakers Shaq. So we
Sure.
envision like heavy, big, girthy Shaq. But the Shaq before that, like early Lakers, Orlando Shaq, that's what everybody wants to have. That's if I was picking a Shaq, that's the Shaq I would want to have. Who is stopping that Shaq? And Shaq that's not the Shaq that can move. He was like what Embiid and Jokic doing now, kind of playing like the point center type thing, bringing the ball down the court. He was doing that in the 90s when nobody else was doing that. Like, if you took that Shaq and put him right now, he's banging with everybody down low. And then he's going to be finesse enough to like show you his skill on the outside too. So I think that Shaq could still be just as dominant now. So I think Shaq will be smart enough to adjust and say, okay, I can't be 300 pounds trying to move for these boys. Let me drop a nice little 40 pounds, 30 pounds, whatever you got to get to where I can still move and guard how I need to. So Shaq be limiting himself thinking, oh, I just touch him up, blah, blah, blah. No, bro, we're not doing that. This ain't 90s. Stop saying that. You're going to be throwing out the game every single game because it's not the NBA no more. So that Shaq could still dominate today's game and still be just as effective. His game could still be just as effective in today's game because he was ahead of his time. He kind of just dumbed himself down skill-wise to say, I ain't got to sit here and be mid-range. I got to sit here and be able to shoot all this other stuff. I ain't finna throw the handle out there like that. I'm going to, boom, here, boom, drop step, Shaq poster. Drop step other way, another Shaq poster. Drop step, jump hook on the depth. That was his game came down to. But Orlando Shaq, early LA Shaq, he had a lot more skill. He just dumbed himself down, dumbed this game down to where I'm going to be so physically dominant that no other name can be mentioned with mine. But early Shaq, he could fit in any era and be just as dominant. So I thought about that, man. Like that Shaq could easily be Shaquille O'Neal in today's game. He just had to like lose the weight and show his skill off again. But I don't know. I just thought about that when you said that.
Yeah, definitely, man. No doubt in my mind. Shaq is one of the great players can play in any era. I truly believe that. The greatest players. And when I'm talking about the greatest players, I'm talking about your Mikes, your Bronze, your Kareems. I believe Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain can play in any era. Because at the end of the day, their talent and athleticism and their knowledge of the game is going to always translate. Will the game be different in every era, of course, but how they played and what they have internally and like what the Lord blessed them with physically, that's going to always translate. And I truly believe that. So you take Shaq and drop him in the 60s, you take Shaq and drop him in the 90s, you take Shaq and drop him in 2023. He's going to be Shaq. So
Mm-hmm.
because there's only one Shaq that we've never seen anything like it, and we might never see nothing like it again. So that's why I say he will, like in any era, he's going to be who he was. And I say the same thing like that about all guys. I ain't trying to get into a whole other subject, but old heads love to be like, you put LeBron in. I think Dennis Rodman said that jump. If you put LeBron in, back when we played, he'd just be another regular player. No, he would not. LeBron is 6'9", 250. Y'all not stopping that. There's no level of physicality that is stopping what LeBron is. He's a freight train. You don't think these grown men that he playing against not trying to foul him sometimes? His whole pictures are like, I know y'all remember the picture of Paul Pierce got him by the shoulders trying to stop him, and he just taking Paul to the rim with him. Come on, man.
I
Y'all
I
not.
went up you. I went up you. It's whole videos out there of LeBron taking like the hardest fouls. Like people literally like I'm talking about winding up trying to grab this man, and LeBron's like, "Get off me, lay. Get off me, dunk." Video.
Man,
People made a whole capsulation, like literally took time out to find his hardest fouls and find how he big broke them and said, "Little dude, get off me." Like, dude, like literally, think about how difficult that is. I'm literally pulling you back, but I'm giving you a horse collar, bro. This is a legal
a
play in football.
grown
You can
man.
literally a grown. This ain't like little brother. This ain't varsity JV stuff. This is another grown man pulling you by your shoulders. And LeBron said, "Did somebody tug my cape? Like, what is this? Late, like, bro, come on now. You talking about you trying to look, man? The disrespect on LeBron is stupid at this point, bro.
The,
Like."
That's why I say
Come
that,
on.
man. The greatest players can play in any era. Any of. And then, you got people who just to, throw them a bone. You got people today that be like, man, you drop Michael Jordan in today's game, he DeMar DeRozan. He's not. Mike still would be Mike. The layups and the finishes and the dunks that Mike was doing, ain't nobody doing that. I don't care. Like, I get they got similarities in their game between him and DeMar DeRozan. I get that. But I would never say that Mike would still be Mike. He would be just averaging 30 today, just like he was before. So the great players transcend the game. They
Mm-hmm.
will be in any era. They'll always be great. So, and I think one day we'll be able to say that about like Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. Like, you drop them in the 90s, they're going to understand the physicality of the day, and they're going to be just as good. So that's just my 2 cents, though. But I am glad the big man is prominent again. There's not even just shooting and stuff. I'm glad to see post moves again. And I love decent post moves. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that's back. Everything. So the big man is back.
Yeah, I'm gonna co-sign your point about I'll say this though. I think the top 10 of all-time players, you can honestly stretch that out to probably close to 15, the top 15 players of all time. Those guys like solidified. Don't touch them. Like, stop comparing people to them. Stop trying to say they couldn't play. Like, just don't do that with them. The top 15, because you got to include, if you want to include guys from today's game too. But there's a handful of guys that are just like, ooh, from the time Naismith started to now, these guys would be who they are in spite of what you want to say about them. So probably the top 15 guys all time are like once in a lifetime. Don't compare them to nobody. They can play anytime, any place, any rules. They're gonna be great. So that's what I think about that a lot. That's where my top 15 kind of comes from. Like, how unique and elite are these guys? Can you drop these guys in any time frame, any era, any rules, and they still who they are? So that's where that kind of comes from with me. But yeah, the big man is back, man. Interesting enough. Kind of saw this before, but just seeing guards post up too. You seen that little wave, like Kyrie has a post game. Surprisingly enough, Chris Paul had a little bit of a post game too. Kyle Lowry being 6'1" had a little bit of post game back in the day. But you seeing guards post up some, even with the bigger guards, I ain't even talking about the Lucas and the Shays and stuff. I'm talking about like the average 6'3" guard and shorter. Not named Steph Curry. He ain't got a post game. But you seeing guards have a post game too. And it's beautiful to see the inside out game with the bigs and stuff, because the game, no matter what people say, the game is still inside out. Whether you're a guard or a big, whether it's feed the big man down low or you drive in first, get the lay, and then come outside and everything, man. So I think we're in a good space still, man. Like, it's okay to say that the big man is a prominent force, a prominent position in the league and in the NBA, because the last 5 MVPs, all bigs. The next couple MVPs you might see can probably still be big. Like, we're looking at Joker winning MVP this year. Giannis is still young. He can still win another MVP or two. Like, LeBron kicking, he might sneak up one this year and take it away depending on how he plays, how the Lakers do. But if Anthony Davis ever shakes out and, becomes something that you think he can be, he could maybe sneak an MVP in there. But like I said before, the next 5 years, you got Chet, Wemby, Paolo. Like, you got a nice little group of guys coming after that next wave. So the big man is back, man. The big man is here, and they're here to stay for a nice little bit.
I think we are probably in the first days or first years in a long time that the big man is the favorite almost every year for MVP. Like I said, the last 5 years has been a big. I think we're in the first years that a big is the favorite of the MVP regularly. And it's like a low chance of a guard winning it. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I do want to ask, if there is going to be a guard to win MVP, who do you think it is? And not a wing, and like, let's not throw out a LeBron or KD. If it's a guard, who do you think could possibly steal an MVP in this era of super skilled big men that we living in? I already know my pick in my mind. I think I know who you're
If
going
we're
to say
going
too.
to if we're going today's game, Steph Curry. If we're going to go future, Ant-Man.
That's who I thought you were gonna say. Ant Man. And I love Ant. I hope he do win one. But the Minnesota Timberwolves got to be winning, and they're winning right now. They're doing decent. They have, I think, they fourth in the West, so they better than they've been in a long time. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they got to win consistently for him to get it. I hope he does get one. My dark horse to steal the MVP off these guys is GA.
Yeah,
Shea
that's my
Gill.
next pick.
I think Shea Gill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Shea Gill could definitely steal one in this little era right now because everybody's right now is the league is great, but Joker, Embiid, Giannis, they're like considered probably top three in the league right now. Like not just like MVP, but I'm talking about top three best players in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And you got people who throw in Luka and Steph and LeBron. But if we talk about MVP and that Oklahoma City Thunder team, I think Shea might steal in one, at least one. I definitely think he's gonna get in one in his career at least. So we'll see though, man. But that's all I got for you though, bro. I'm glad the CBA's in there representing once again. So
I don't want to prolong this, but it's interesting that neither of us said Luca. I just want to throw that in there. Like
I
that's
love Luka's game. I think obviously Luka is great, but there's something about Luka. I can't even really put my finger on it. There's something about Luka that just tells me he won't win the MVP. I don't know if it's because it's the Mavericks or like I don't believe in their team like that. Or maybe they just don't get the love or the attention that other teams do. But I just don't believe he's gonna get an MVP for real, for real. Like I'm sure he will later on because he's still 24, 20, 25, something like that. He's young,
mm-hmm.
but I definitely I can believe he gonna get one. But like in the near future, I don't know why though. Like maybe it's just because it's the Mavericks and I don't believe in the Mavericks like that. But I just don't see him getting no MVP no time soon. I believe Shea gonna get one before him.
That's crazy, bro. Like I don't know what's going on with Luca, but that is interesting, man. Maybe that's a whole other conversation to get into one day. Um, but for right now, man, the big man is Bizak. Welcome back to being the forefront, one of the prominent positions in the league again, guys. Hope you guys enjoy your seat. It's a pretty big seat because the last guy was in there, big man. Shaq he's a pretty big guy, so that seat's probably a little stretched out for you guys. But three of you guys combined, you can definitely fill in that space, man. But I'm pretty sure he didn't leave any food for you, so we got to go back to the Publix and get you guys some more. Let us know, man. We got some water over there. Got some tea for you guys, and nice little refreshments for you guys. But give us a minute to get the snacks and everything for you guys. And welcome back to being the forefront, one of the best positions in the league. And then keep it nice there for the next guys coming up, following behind you, man. But yeah, man. Now the conversation falls in you guys' laps, man. We need you guys to let us know what you think, man. Are we tripping? The big man ain't nowhere close to being back because you still got to worry about these guards. We just mentioned JT, JB, Ja Morant, Ant Man, like Shea, Luca. They still gonna dominate and run the league. Let us know. Give us your thoughts. Give us your opinions. Comment below what you think. If we tripping, if the list on 2013 was right and Tony Parker should have been up there, let me know. If the list right now is tripping and then somebody should have been in there, let us know. You feel me? Give us some input. Give us some comments. But we appreciate all you guys like, shares, and comments. Keep doing it. You feel me? Show us some love there. And subscribe. That's very big. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, Apple, follow along, subscribe. Follow my boy Nelson on social media. He has Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and TikTok too. You feel me? Go show him some love over there. All the links and stuff will be below. And just subscribe to the podcast. You ain't got to follow me. Just subscribe to the podcast. I care about that more. And every Friday, Hoop Gems. You feel me? Little mental game nugget. Change your perspective. Give you some tools to get you on your day. Give you a little inspiration to go on to be great hoopers. You feel me? And that's it. I did a good job promoting everything. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. See you next week.